So I woke up at 6 o'clock in the morning and took a hired car because the underground wasn't working yet, over to King's Cross Station and dealt with the crowds there waiting and hopped on the Eurostar, which took me to Brussels. And I was looking forward to this 3 days in Brussels to catch up with the Toone Marionette Theatre. They were doing a version of the Passion Play, which I was very curious about. And I was just also very tired and looking forward to essentially doing nothing but resting, taking a few walks, but not pushing myself. I've been pushing myself since before I actually began this trip. But it was an uneventful trip. Sat in my assigned seat, went under the English Channel, and arrived in Brussels. And I know my way around Brussels enough. I've been to the Toone Marionette Theatre several times that I could just get out. Probably should have paid more attention to this sign, it turns out. And went over to right next to the Toone Marionette Theatre, the same basic building complex. There is a series of little apartments that are owned by the theater, and they allow puppet people, such as myself, to stay there for free, which is a wonderful thing. There's a little apartment, and there is a kitchen where I can cook. I went out and bought a duck leg and some other things to cook for myself. Used their refrigerator, which was nice, and settled in. Just to show you a little bit more around this little complex, I will open the door I didn't go to and show you where the dormitory room is. And then this is where I will be staying. And what I like about rooms here is that you get these strange little courtyards that are more air vents. And then up there you get the tops. There's the actual Grand Palais de Bruxelles. And over here you can see the courtyard of Toone, and that passageway down there off to the right is where the theater is. They're actually in that building right there, the brown building. When a troupe of marionettists come here, or guignolists, or puppeteers, they get to sleep in these bunk beds. And the great thing about this is it looks down on one of the main streets of the old town. Some people find Brussels boring, but then again, they're not looking at it through the puppetry gaze. But what is that suspicious flag there? So, obviously an official building of the EU with their official multicolored, shall we say, flag. So it was gray weather, which I was grateful for. I didn't want any real sunshine and heat, and I was feeling particularly drained. And when I say this, I was feeling as if my legs had been used way too much. Particularly my thighs felt like they really needed a rest from all of the walking and the walking on ice and snow, and also the lifting and moving of my boxes back in Alaska. But then even getting to London, I just spent a lot of time walking, and I had done so. I don't check my bags in if I can help it, so I'm carrying my bags around with me. And this whole process, and I think also that trying to raise the money to go here just left me drained. So the Toone Marionette Theatre is one of my favorite theaters in Europe. It is the oldest continuing puppet theater in Europe, starting in around the 1830s. Not in the same building, but certainly the same organization. And so I was there waiting to see a version of the Passion Play by Modernist writer Michel De Ghelderode. But now it was time for Nicolas Géal to introduce.
Mesdames et messieurs, bonsoir!
Bonsoir.
Dames en heren, goedenavond! Goedenavond! Ladies and gentlemen, good evening!
Good evening.
Voilà! Vous allez voir un grand classique, c'est La Passion! Alors il y aura un entracte, durant lequel vous pourrez visiter le musée, qui est gratuit. Tout le monde a compris. J'en dis pas plus, amusez-vous bien.
So I was particularly interested in this version of the Passion Play, knowing that Belgian writer Michel De Ghelderode was definitely a modernist playwright. And he had based a lot of his ideas for his Passion Play, not so much on the Gospels, but on Belgian folk tales, based on the Gospels, based on the story of Christ. So let's watch a little bit of this.
Oh, mais je comprends. Quel est cet affreux personnage qui ose arriver en dansant quand c'est le deuil partout?
There's the figure of death coming for Christ.
Et pourquoi es-tu si joyeuse, pleine mort? Je me réjouis parce que je...
Pause! Le musée est ouvert!
And then during the intermission, Nicolas Géal comes out and invites us all for some beverages and just an intermission down in his museum of old puppets. And it was while I was here that I had a nice conversation with Nicolas, almost delaying the rest of the play. Now, having watched this version of the Passion Play, I am not sure what to think. That is to say, I don't have an immediate impression. Judas is like a drunk. His wife is a harridan. We'll see him killing himself soon. Christ is taken seriously, and yet there's this sense of the fool about all of this. I have to find the original play, because this was not only in French, but in a rather provincial Brussels version of French. And I'm going to have to look at it. It's not something I think most Christians would appreciate. However, Nicolas said that not as many people come to it because it was, and I quote him, a religious play, which is very interesting. I think years ago, such a play would not have been seen as religious at all. And now, just due to the nature of where we are, just dealing with the topic of the crucifixion is seen as religious by our very secular current people.
Il ouvre encore la bouche pour parler. J'ai soif. La soif. Tu dois pas croire que tu vas recevoir une demi-gueuse ici, tu sais. Allez, donnez-lui à boire du vinaigre sur une éponge. que tu dois souffrir avec tes pieds et tes mains clouées. Je souffre surtout, ma chère mère, de te laisser seule sur la terre. Saint Jean est-il avec toi?
Le voici, Seigneur.
Saint Jean, tu vas devenir le fils de Sainte Marie à ma place. Et tu feras attention à elle jusqu'au jour où je la ferai monter vivante dans le ciel.
I was also developing kind of a, what shall I say, deep suspicion of these rolling suitcases, especially as they were being dragged around everywhere. The drug opera, I'll let you guess what that is. I eventually, the next day, was feeling good, walking around, feeling a bit tired, and so I went to see a film, Immaculate, starring Sydney Sweeney, which was an interesting film dealing with, what can I say, an immaculate conception, definitely set in the Catholic nunnery. Quite interesting. I was actually impressed with the film. It is a horror film, very definitely. But while I was sitting there, I suddenly started to feel a chill, and I wrapped my coat around me more and more, and as I walked home, I felt this fever come over me, and it just knocked me out. And so I went to bed. And in a moment here, we're going to see a very edited version of me talking, basically in the middle of this 2-day bout of the fever, me thinking somehow that I was getting better. But you can see I'm in rough shape. And so let's watch Burn, the edited version.
If I look a little rough, it's because I just went through some bizarre fever that last 24 hours made me feel completely drained. And as a fever goes, it wasn't that bad. That is, it wasn't dangerously high. But as you can see, I'm still a little worse for wear. And I was really looking forward to just having time off here, which I do have. But I can feel that the fever has broken. I can feel a little sweat now. And whereas last night I couldn't sleep at all. And I have just been literally in a bed for 24 hours. Just because I didn't feel like eating. Drinking a bit, yes, but that's about all. I went out this morning and felt like someone was just pushing me around, just like, Anyway, this has happened to me before while traveling, particularly in Europe, particularly the French part of Europe. I don't know why. Normally, I would blame these things on the metro in Paris, which literally twice I've gotten some of the worst infections or diseases or whatever from that mode of transportation. But I did add some weight to them. But we'll leave it there. Next time you see me talking, hopefully, I'll be in better shape. Okay, well, after another day of fever, it broke this morning with lots of sweat, which then made me feel drained. Fortunately, I had pomegranate juice to help me get my electrolytes back. And yeah, I am still very drained though. I think this is finally going. But now I have to get on a train for 6 hours and go from Brussels to the Lyon area to a small village. I don't know what to expect, But I'll be there for a week, so I'm just looking forward to a break. Because I was looking forward to a break here, and I got one. But unfortunately, it came with, I think I just overworked myself, you know. So if you overwork yourself, you end up weakening your defenses. And I think that's what happened. Because I spent so much time in preparation for the trip, in the beginning of the trip, working in Alaska, lots of walking, and then carrying around my my backpack and other bag. And then basically London, walking. And here I did some walking, and then I got sick. So that is how it goes. I got sick just at the moment, and this often happens when you get a moment of relaxation from the tension. Okay, obviously I'm still not in perfect shape, but I'll get better, and I will be back.
And so, after 2 days of complete draining fever, I hopped on a TGV, the Train de Grande Vitesse, the train of great fastness, quickness, and went from Brussels, a 6-hour train ride down to Lyon. And after Lyon, I was then driven for an hour by a friend of a good friend of mine, Patrick, who took me to a small, very small village in the mountains between Lyon and the Alps, a little village called Serin. And I was completely drained. I was coughing now, which I hadn't been coughing before. And I was suspecting, which turned out to be true, that eventually I would get the second part of this, which I saw everyone having. I saw other people coughing, but I saw also everyone with their noses running and such like this. And I eventually got that after I got back here, which is why I've been a bit quiet since I've been here, because I spent a couple more days, I did more coughing, serious coughing, and then ended up, again, you get colds and fevers and such when you do a lot of exertions or a lot of straining, and then you relax. So I came back here, and I see people all over here with some addition of this long cold. But basically, I'm pretty much out of it now. But, it has just gone on and on. Anyway, in the next video, we will deal with my time recovering in this small village of France, recovering from phase 1, and then I'll eventually have to get on the road again and get tired some more, and then get phase 2 when I get back here. So we will see each other very soon. Droit from Georgia.